Welcome to our run-through of the Sensis Totalcheck connector for SugarCRM. The Sensis Totalcheck connector allows us to ensure that the data that we capture within our CRM is firstly very accurate, and secondly it streamlines the process of capturing that accurate data as well. So what we're going to be doing is running through a few scenarios here of how we might leverage this. Okay, so let's say as an example, we get a phone call from a particular customer. Okay, so we might want to create a particular prospect. So in this case we want to create a new lead. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit create lead, and we see that we have the Sensis Totalcheck panel there just up the top. We can expand that and we can actually search for a relevant organisation. Okay, so in this case I've done a search for CRM online. Okay, so I can actually go and search for that, find the relevant details. We can see that the one with the S beside it is a Sensis validated address, meaning that we're going to get more than just the address. We'll get phone numbers, potentially ABNs if those are available. Okay, so what we can actually do there, we can actually see that we've got a match there, and we can actually copy the result to the relevant record, including names, addresses, phone numbers, ABNs if we have them, and email addresses if we have them as well. Okay, so so that first of all guarantees that our data is going to be accurate. Okay, and just as a nice to have, we've added a little live map in there as well. Okay, all right, so I'm now going to save that new lead. Okay, so let's say the call was from Glenn Richmond. Okay, and we're going to hit save. Okay, I'm going to ignore the duplicate. Okay, because this has obviously got some test data in there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to now show some of the validation components within the Sensis tool. So the Sensis Totalcheck connector is not just streamlining of the capturing of the data, it's also validation of existing data within the system. Okay, so now that I'm within that record that I've created, what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand the Sensis panel again. Okay, and I'm going to go into the validation tools, and what we can see is that it's going to pick up all of the options that may require validation: phones or fixed phone, mobile phone, ABN and email validation. And just to give you an idea of how some of these work, the phone and mobile validation will actually ping the telephone network to verify that the phone number is valid and connected. Okay, the ABN validation will actually ping the ASIC database and verify that it is a validly registered legal entity, and also bring back the legal entity details and the location of the registered office. Okay, and the email validation will actually ping the email server without having to send an email, and check whether the email is actually a validly accepted email address. Okay, we're going to run through each of those scenarios. So as a first check, we can validate that phone number. Very simple, goes and pings the network, tells us this one is valid, fine. Okay, for the ABN number, what I'm going to do is just grab a valid number there. So we'll grab the number for CRM online. Okay, so you actually see that that's validated and that it's registered in WA. Okay, and the legal entity name was there. And finally, what I'm going to do here is try to validate an email address. Now, CRM Online actually has the catch-all email option turned on, which means that we don't reject any email, though we do obviously filter it to a central spam location. So as a result, it actually tells us that. Now, if we were to use a domain that actually didn't have that option turned on, it will return a different option. Okay, so it looks like that domain also has it on. But basically, if the domain doesn't have that option turned on, it will actually indicate that the email address is invalid. Okay, so finally, I showed earlier a business search. We also have the option of doing a residential search. So, for example, if I was to have a look for, let's say, let's look for a common name. Okay, and search for a Smith. Okay, it will find all relevant addresses that may have someone within that range, or I can filter by state and postcode. If I'm talking to someone and I know that they are from a particular state, I can filter as well. Okay. Okay, so I've got those additional options there. If I make a mistake and I want to search again, okay, just as an example there as well, by the way, we can drill down into the various addresses, so right down to the unit level and so on. The census data provides us that level of information, as well as the Australia Post data. Okay, alright, so just as an example there. Okay, and if I do make a mistake and I want to clear the result, I can clear that and I can start again. So you can see there's a few options there. The end result is an accurate database, and one that is going to streamline the capture of relevant information within your CRM. Okay, very important if you're running a customer service or a telephone customer service centre where you need to capture information quickly and accurately. It's going to make the job of your customer service reps and sales reps much easier. Thanks very much for your time, and that gives you an overview of the core functionality of our Sensis connector for SugarCRM.